everyone. So welcome back to another Coding Minds Project Web Conference. So the hosts for tonight, as usual, are Angel, Terrence, and I. So as you guys all know, a computer can do many things. It can follow commands much more precisely than a human can. However, at the same time, following those precise commands is a computer's biggest flaw. And if there's anything that a computer cannot do, that is create music and art. So today we'll be looking at Joshua's project. Joshua is a freshman at Beckman High School, and he has pushed AI's capabilities to the edge by making a music auto-generation program. So without further delay, Joshua, whenever you're ready, you can start your screen and begin.
So this is Music Maker by Joshua Tian. So I go to Beckman High School. I'm 14 years old and I'm in 9th grade. I love to play basketball. I've been playing for like a couple years now. I love to code. I love to do many other things like math, science. And concerning this program, I spent around 2 to 3 weeks developing it. So the introduction to Music Maker. This idea was like definitely not my main choice, as for my AI project, I had other plans. But after seeing that my first plan was not going to work out, I decided to shift gears and try this Music Maker project. I decided to go with this because it seemed like a program that would allow users to use their creativity. And I really like programs that stress creativity. This program was also created in Google Colab, a website similar to REPL, but has more processing power. So how does Music Maker work? Music Maker is a user-controlled program that has two different features powered by the library Magenta. The first feature is that it lets the user make their own string of notes to create a short tune or song. The second feature of the program is the AI portion of the project, and what it does is that it uses recurrent neural networks, which are often used to identify patterns like this. So the gist of it is that it takes your first tune or song that you created with the first feature, and it kind of extends it to around 32 notes, and I will be getting more in depth in that in the actual demo code. So the GUI of Music Maker is kind of non-existent, and it's still run from the console of Google Colab. However, that doesn't mean it's hard to use or hard to understand. The format of the user input is just based off the Magenta library, and other directions are given through the console so that the user knows what to do and won't enter an undefined term into the slot. And again, it's going to be shown more in depth in when I actually explain the code. So here's the demo. You guys can see my screen still, right? My code.
Yeah, it looks good.
All right. So in this first block of code, actually more like the first two blocks of code, what I'm doing is I'm pip installing my dependencies and I'm importing my libraries. It's unlike REPL because in REPL, you do not need to pip install things as it kind of does it for you by itself. But in Google Colab, you have to both pip install and import your libraries. And then if we move further down, important ones are Magenta, this one right here, because that's basically what's doing the whole program. So anyways, if we go down, this is our first feature. And what it does is it sets a variable called twinkle twinkle as a note sequence. And in our while true loop, we set a prompt as prompt colon, and then we split our variables as set here, where pitch is equal to A, start time is equal to B, end time is C, and velocity is D. And we split each of those at a comma so that when the user is inputting their note, the program will be able to recognize each variable separately and turn it into a note. So if we actually run this again, sorry, this is gonna have to take maybe a minute or so because the libraries are quite big. Yeah, right here. So it says right here in the directions, please type in your note in this format, A, B, C, D, where A represents the pitch of the note, B represents the start time, C represents the end time, and D represents the volume of the note. So if we go like 50, and yeah, all the input is going to be in number form. So even though many people who play music will know pitches by like A, B, C, D, or that kind of recognition, but in the library Magenta, most of it is like all converted to number form, and then 50, and then if we set the start time as 1, end time as 2, then the volume as like 50, then we press enter, it'll go on to the next note, and then you can fill out another one, 40, 2, 3, and 50, and then 30, 3, 4, and 50. And then when you're done with your notes and you decide that you don't want to make any more, you can just type anything that does not follow the format of A, B, C, and D. So if you just type anything random like stop, then it will stop and it will give you this audio clip and it'll play it back to you. I hope you guys heard that. I think I checked the share computer audio, and then going down here, we have our second feature. This first block right here is downloading or importing the sequence generators and sequence bundles. This is going to be used for our AI part, where it's kind of predicting how your song would go after your first couple of notes. And then down here, we are basically setting some variables like input sequence and creating some generator options like the number of steps or the seconds per step or QPM. And basically what we do down here is it predicts and plots the rest of your notes. And if we just play this right here, you can see that, or you can hear that the first 3 notes are the same. I'm gonna stop it right there. But as you heard, the first 3 notes were the same as what you created in the beginning, and then after, the rest of the notes were all what the AI predicted. Okay, so back to the presentation. The challenges for this project were, first, as I said before, which project I would actually pursue. I spent a lot of time working on my other project and getting a certain feature to work with that one, which is getting a Discord bot to mesh with sentimental analysis. And I was able to get it to work at first, but after a weekend, the people at Google Colab wanted to update the Discord library. And then when I tried to run my code again, it didn't work anymore. So then I decided to part ways with that project and then just make something completely different, and one that I knew wouldn't need anything unreliable like the Discord module. And another challenge I had with Music Maker was how to get my code to recognize my variable instead of like their kind of format. Like in the code, as I mentioned, the split at the comma was kind of challenging, as many times the code would kind of parse at wrong parts, and then there would be an error giving me like a value that like said like I didn't input a valid value, and that was kind of frustrating. And then the last two are kind of figuring out how to use different kind of IDEs like REPL and Google Colab. I really liked REPL because of its easy to use engine, and switching from REPL to Google Colab was definitely a hard transition, as REPL was a lot like you didn't really have to worry about the background, like your modules and your libraries. While in Google Colab, if you have any kind of format error with your pip install, your import, or if anything is unstable, your program will most likely not work. But because the libraries that I was trying to use were far bigger than what REPL could actually hold, it would take about 30 minutes to load and then crash. So I ended up having to switch to Google Colab, which could process most of that in probably under a minute. And then for future development of this project, I plan on attempting again to maybe do this music making thing and then put it with the Discord bot. I really want to try to get my programs to function and mesh with something else like Discord, which I'm not sure about you guys, but I use that a lot. And I think the bots and the creativity of the bots can be like really used. And yeah. And then another function that another thing that I really want to develop is GUI. As I said before, there's really no GUI. It's just inputting in the console. I think I could make a decent web server or a website that could just make this project look a bit nicer. And then I also want to make increased compatibility with numbers. And I did forget to say, but the most in my project, the numbers that you enter in the beginning have to be integers. So I want to try to increase the compatibility with those numbers and make it so that it can be more than just integers. And then lastly, I want a more cooperative IDE, something that I feel more comfortable using, and one that can handle or like not yell at every single mistake or incorrect formatting that is in the code. That would make life a lot easier when coding and making your program. Overall, I don't think Google Colab was that bad or great, but there were definitely some flaws. But yeah, thank you for watching my presentation. I think now is the Q&A section, right?
Yep, you're right.
So does anyone have any questions?
I guess I'll start off. How long does this take you to make?
Maybe around 6 to 8 hours. I think I took 3 class periods to do it, and then some extra time outside of class.
I think before you mentioned there was like an AI portion of the program. Could you show us that again?
Oh yeah. So the AI portion is this bottom part, starting from after the first feature, that we have the second feature where you have to import the sequences and the generators, and then down here you make up a lot of variables that determine how your AI is going to run it, and you have generator options that set like how your generator is going to generate the notes and kind of trains your model. And then down here on the bottom, you have the actual generating of the sequence. And then on the bottom here is where you plot and play the sequence.
So I'm curious, like what happens if you put like a song like Mary Had a Little Lamb, for example? Like you put half of it, will it like autocomplete correctly?
I do believe it will autocomplete. Maybe it won't be as accurate, but I think the main tune will still be there.
Is it possible to maybe try that?
I'll try. I'm not sure all the exact like notes, because as I said, like the conversion is kind of weird, as like normal notes is kind of the conversion from note to number isn't very clear. Yeah, that's another like kind of gray spot in Magenta, where they don't really tell you what the note to number conversion is. So I can try.
Okay.
What kind of courses did you take?
Oh yeah, this is a course from AI2 where we mainly learned about neural networks. And so basically what neural networks are is it's kind of like a cell where information is transmitted into a cell, and then there are like different kind of neural networks, and depending on what kind of neural network it is, a cell can maybe like loop it around and around until it gets information that it wants, or it can keep it, or in this case for the recurrent neural networks, it's going to try and predict what happens next by looking at the past data.
Is this an online course or?
Yeah, it's online. It's the Coding Minds AI2 course.
So you made this program because you like music and band?
Yeah, I actually do play. I play the trumpet, and I've been playing for like 3 years. So I kind of music is pretty fun, and I decided that this would be a pretty cool project.
Nice. Are you in band?
Yeah, I'm in band.
How would this help the community?
Oh, I'm not sure about how this would help the community, but it could be a form of entertainment if someone considers this entertainment.
Do you think this can contribute to your school band?
In band, we don't really do much right now because of this whole COVID situation. So sure, I guess, probably.
Oh, does your code only play piano, or like can it play like guitar or like any other?
Oh yeah, and for Magenta, there actually is another option that allows you to switch instruments. I haven't really gotten that deep into this library yet, so that could be something I consider adding later on. And I think guitar was one of the options.
Do you have other projects that you want to work on in the future?
Other projects? I'm not actually, I don't really have other projects that I want to work on, but there was actually one that I did before. I think I also I presented that one with my team maybe a month or two ago. It basically tracked the COVID rates. It was attempting to track the COVID rates in different schools based on the density and population. Maybe I could further that one or work on that one or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you mentioned before you have the Discord project that you like
That
switched
one.
over. Do you plan on ever like continuing that?
Huh. Well, I could. So basically what my original plan was to do both this and the sentimental analysis, and then put it in like kind of a one big program thing. But the sentimental analysis one actually works on REPL. It functions in Discord and it like works. But then I tried to put this one in REPL and it just didn't work because the libraries were too big. I think it had trouble importing TensorFlow and Magenta. So I tried to switch both of those into Google Colab, and then the Discord thing just wouldn't work with me. It just refused to cooperate. at like most of the time. I think I spent I think I spent 2/3 of my project time trying to fix the Discord thing.
Do you have a GitHub account?
GitHub, I may have a GitHub account. Maybe. I probably don't, but I
Yeah,
might.
you can share your stuff on there, your code and stuff.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Are you planning to like publish this thing or not?
Maybe if I work on this a bit more and it becomes a bit more polished, I will. But as it is right now, probably not.
If not, Joshua, do you have anything else you want to say?
Not really.
Okay. Then, and if no one else has any questions, I guess we can end it here today.
Guys, you can go.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, please follow us on Twitter at Coding Minds Academy and on Facebook at Coding_Minds. That's it for tonight's Coding Minds project presentation. Good job on this music project. Tune in next week for another Coding Minds conference, and we will see you then. We want to thank you on behalf of Coding Minds and have a great evening.